Hello. So, yeah, it's the 1st of December. It doesn't feel very festive this year, does it? Because of all the weird stuff that's been going on. Oh, and people are going to complain about my colour as always. Let me fix that right at the beginning. That's the problem with wearing an actual shirt with a collar when you're streaming. People start going like, "Oh, your collar's not tucked tidily." Anyway, so 1st of December doesn't feel very festive, does it? I suppose we've got a virus. Santa can give you a vaccine if you're lucky this year. That's about it. So later on today, I'll go into the attic and get some Christmas decorations down, and I might pop a couple behind me for next time I stream. That way, at least, it might look a bit more festive in the background. But hello to everybody just joining. So unlike yesterday, I've actually had quite a good day today. Like everything that I've tried to do sort of succeeded, unlike yesterday, where it was one of those days of, half the things you do didn't work properly. Ah, cool. Nerd Central. What model did you order again? I've completely forgotten which musket you said you ordered. It might be Soviet gas mask collector. It depends. All right. OK9 in the Czech Republic. How are you over there? Well, for me, Nerd Central, Christmas this year won't be any different than any of the other years, except for, like every sort of few years, you have less and less people at Christmas just because of, people dying. Oh, so brown Bess, I assume, not rather than brown bass or brown base. But yeah, brown Bess. That's very cool. The old sort of Napoleonic Wars one before the actual rifle muskets, and sort of 1776, I assume, is the brown Bess sort of thing. But yeah, I've not got an advent calendar yet. I might have to fix that. It feels weird to me having a December with no advent calendar. So yeah, later on I'll put the Christmas decorations down. Yeah, Baker's rifles, but they're actually rifled, aren't they? I mean, it's in the name, Soviet gas mask collector, but yeah, the sharp sort of rifle. Yeah, actually with rifling, so it hits Frenchies more accurately. Yeah, so after this stream today, at some point today, I'll go up in the attic, find where all the Christmas decorations are, and maybe shove some behind me just so next time I stream it looks a bit more festive. But couldn't be bothered to do that today. Well, rifled muskets, because yeah, it's a musket but actually has a rifled barrel. And I assume that used a mini ball, didn't it? Like the Civil War, sort of US Civil War muskets. It's more like an air rifle pellet than a musket ball. I've done some archery. My garden's not really big enough to do it, in all honesty. Like, you can shoot a crossbow all right in the garden, but I'd obviously really want, like quite a bit longer range, because then there's a bit more skill to it than, because the furthest distance you can shoot in my garden is like 20 yards, if that. And at that range, it's pretty easy to hit a target after you've been practicing for a bit. So, I'd rather have a longer range for testing. All right, Miss Valadez. But yeah, hello to everybody. So, yeah, I suppose the problem with Christmas is it might be a super spreader event. That's cool. €20, that's not too bad, is it? If it's in date, yeah. And you can keep it sealed, I guess, until you need it. I have no idea, Miss Valadez, because I can't remember all the times, like, people have been on one stream and not another, unless it's people like Weapon Collector or whatever that are on nearly every stream. Yeah, I'm all right. We've been in lockdown again in the UK, and I think tomorrow is technically the first day everybody comes out of lockdown. I'm not back at work until around the weekend, just because obviously it depends on when you were rotated in for certain places when the lockdown ended. But some businesses are reopening, some aren't, Lots of people are losing their jobs again, sadly, because, there's more and more businesses collapsing every time there's more economic measures. Oh, Paula, I think people in supermarkets probably get the virus more than like COVID-safe restaurants and things like that. But I think it really just depends on how close people are packed in together. Forgot about school in what sense? I mean, I'm too old to go to school, but what, you were meant to go back to school and didn't? Yeah, it depends where you are. If you're in tier 3, it pretty much is still lockdown, isn't it? Soviet gas mask collector. Oxford, where I am, is going to be tier 2, but how much on tier 2 it is close to tier 3, I don't know. Because I imagine it might be like a week or two, and then we end up being tier 3 anyway, and everything closes again. But yeah, because it was stupid before in the original tier system, because we were tier 1 even when our cases kept getting higher and higher, and they never put us into tier 2. So now we are actually in a more appropriate tier, because, the problem was before is there were people literally obviously spreading the virus and not caring. And the stupid thing is, like before, at least this time, I think they've done all of Oxfordshire into just tier 2. Whereas I think before it was like Oxford City was like a higher infection rate, but then they had different tiers, although I think they were all the same tier number for like some of the surrounding postcodes. But the stupid thing is, like, it's just like a 5-minute drive if somebody wanted to go to somewhere that had less restrictions. So it's not going to stop the spread. So at least this time they've sort of put the entire county into one tier group, rather than doing it based on like postcodes in the actual county. That's annoying if there's been, well, I mean, sad, isn't it, if there's been a terrorist attack? I'll have a look on the news, because all I saw on the news recently was just the UK Parliament stuff regarding, them arguing about, should we go into the tier system, should we stay locked down, all that. I mean, Debenhams is going to close, 12,000 jobs at risk, and that's like a day after a couple of other shops have had to close, isn't it? So there's probably going to be another, like, few 100,000 people unemployed in the UK in the next few days, weeks, whenever it, all of those people actually lose their jobs. Hilltop phallic statue goes missing in Germany. That's not the terrorist attack. There's nothing I can see on here about terrorism, but again, it could be that, it's not a front page thing on here. GP5 is much better than the GP7, as you probably saw in the video I did the other day, because the GP7 is just kind of like the PMK1 over-engineered for the sort of cheapness they built it from. GP6 technically doesn't exist as far as I'm aware, Fiverr, but basically what a GP6 would be is what a lot of people call the GP5M or PMG2. Do I have one conveniently still behind me? No, it's buried right at the back, so I can't easily grab it. But it's the like GP5 with a voice diaphragm on the front. All right, Ghost users. What, as in corona cases, Ghost users? So basically your school's telling you can't protect yourself. Well, unfortunately, I don't think he will admit defeat, even if he gets something wrong. I think he's just going to dig his head further and further, into the sand. Well, there are newer GP masks after the collapse of the Soviet Union. There are like modern Russian ones, like the GP9 is the PPM88, isn't it? Or other similar sort of panoramic masks. So there is higher GP numbers, but I don't know all of them, because obviously newer masks are harder to get. And I was sort of more interested in Cold War period masks for the most part. So, for me, mostly it's cheap Cold War masks you can get and seeing how different countries varied them. Lewis, the tier I'm in, I suppose if I wanted to go to the pub, that would be the case, but I just don't see the point in going out to the pub at the moment of how expensive it is for a pint and, the increased risk of getting COVID. I'd much rather, be more of an alky like I've been recently and just sit at home drinking with supermarket priced alcohol. Well, it's just they're more expensive hikes for the most part, or they're not surplused, because obviously stuff in the Cold War isn't used anymore, so it's on the surplus market. If it's modern, it's either still in use or very expensive. The brown dosimeter. If you mean that one, I can't really take it down because it's attached to the wall. If you mean that one, though, I've got a video on it. It's the Polish, what's the actual model number of that one? It's basically a DP66, but the like vehicle-mounted version. DPS68, there's a few variants of it. It does the milli-Rontgen range. It's quite strange because it actually has a Rontgen per hour scale, and then it has like, 0.01 up to times 100, rather than it having a milli-Rontgen and a Rontgen scale. But yeah, it basically does background readings up to 200 Rontgen per hour. The Soviet one there's a bit more interesting because that goes up to 500 Rontgen per hour, but I can't plug them in all at the moment because I'd have to wire up to a voltage supply and then flick them on. Yeah, Lewis, I think there's something more creepy and interesting about them, isn't there? Especially because they were made during a time where people thought everybody was going to die due to nukes and stuff like that. But Ghost Jesus might sound horrible, but would it be much of a loss if they all did die of COVID? You know, because I mean, I doubt they're the sort of people that contribute much to society, are they? Oh yeah, 2 dead and several injured after car. I assume that's the German thing, but yeah, I guess thoughts with the people who were killed. But you know, I've not really heard much about this yet. I'll look into it after the stream. Well, S10s look really cool, don't they, T. Dixon? I mean, I've got my CT12 down here, which is always handy, because, as I said, this is my favourite mask. Even though I know there's much better masks out there, but it's just my personal favourite. Yeah. Especially with the sort of dark outserts on it. No, it's good you're giving Christmas cards out if I didn't say Joshua. Yeah, I've read outserts for my S10, and I've got the sort of sunglass type ones for the CT12. I could put these on the FM12 as well if I wanted. What, as in keeping certain people alive, Civic Gasmos? I think doctors should help, you know, regular people with illnesses and injuries, but yeah, I don't really have, you know, much sympathy for people that develop an addiction to the point, you know, they destroy their life and other people's lives. You know, because the thing is, I don't really have a problem with anybody that likes a substance too much, as long as they don't harm anybody else, because, you know, I think people should be able to do what they want with their own bodies. But you know, what my point is, though, is if somebody's like a meth addict that steals essentially loads of government funds, you know, probably causes crime, yeah, whatever, I'm not too fussed. The Russian baby mask, do you mean that one? I can't really get that one down, I'm afraid, because I'll have to climb over all that stuff. But inside it is literally just like the 2 eyepieces and then like a little valve at the front where the mouth would be. Not that I can think of OK9 off the top of my head. I mean, obviously, if you put an anti-fog kind of wipe type thing on the inside, that would be good to stop it fogging up. And yeah, if you could, can it easily have outserts put on it? Because if you can get outserts, I think like the sun, like anti-sun glare one, like that Russian PMK4 has is pretty cool. You know, that green thing. The point of that is like it's like a ski goggle thing that if there's sunlight reflecting off snow, it's less dazzling. No, Joshua, we're in December, aren't we? So I don't think there's going to be many Christmas cards this year because people are probably too worried that there's a virus on it. Apparently, we might get snow well, later in the week, Benzie, but so far it's just been sort of chilly, but, you know, a bit foggy some days, but that's been it. It's not very interesting weather at the moment. I think the vaccine's going to be completely fine, in all honesty. I'm certainly not one of those anti-vaxxer type people. Complex gas masks, that's an interesting question. I have to think. I mean, there's ones I've got that are over-engineered. All right, Richard? I already gave out a load of masks when the corona stuff started Nerd Central, because that was basically due to you know, people I knew had jobs where they might be vulnerable due to corona. So I said, look, I'll give you a mask. To ship what? Sorry, was that T. Dixon? Oh, you purchased, Stuart said you purchased a GMC 500 Plus off your review. My one makes a tinkle sound when I gently tap it. Does yours do the same? I don't think so. It's nothing to do with the lanyard, is it? Does anything look loose inside? It could be like obviously a loose part if it makes a tinkling sound. Well, I assume it works fine other than that, does it? That's quite strange. I already said what my favourite gas mask is. This one also has quite an interesting smell to it. Like, not a bad smell, just kind of like an interesting rubber smell. It's Ben Shapiro. He's a famous person, isn't he? Although I doubt that's the real Ben Shapiro. Oh, that's interesting. Oh, yeah, I know the one. Sorry, when you said CM4, I was completely thinking of the wrong mask then. The CM4 is like the one that came after CM3, isn't it? That's kind of like an M65 style mask with the voice diaphragm on the front and the triangular eyepieces. Yeah, sorry, for some reason I completely couldn't think. All right, Radiac Maniac, I saw that video you were on about with the flyback transformer on that thing giving off 20 to 60 Rontgen per hour. Yes. That was very interesting, though. But yeah, I personally wouldn't want to connect, a triode up and expose myself to that level of radiation. As fascinating as it was for like science perspective to watch a video on it. Depends what job you do, doesn't it, Soviet gas mask collector? Because if you get snow and you do certain jobs, snow's an absolute pain in the ass. Because it's like where you still have to do the job, it just makes getting to work more difficult. Like you're more likely to slip and injure yourself while at work. Well, that's not really snow, is it? It's when you have like the slushy kind of ice snow after a day. I don't have an actual World War II US one, World War II gaming, but I've got a Danish copy of it used in the Cold War. And that helmet sitting there, which you might be able to see, is the French rip-off of the M1, which they completely claimed wasn't a rip-off of it. I did a video on the M2000. It's actually a pretty good thing, pretty good mask. But I just don't quite get their weird proprietary filter thing for it. Yeah, I like going out for walks in the snow if it's snowy, but it's annoying with a lot of jobs I've done. It makes getting to work more tedious, like buses late, or people more likely to crash into you. Well, yes, Nerd Central, but I can always sell it or just literally throw it away if I had to. I wouldn't throw it away. I'd give it to a museum, some of the stuff, even if they never put on display. Yeah, I mean, sometimes you think, could I have spent my money on better things? But then knowing how most of my friends are now, who don't even have many collections and, have lost their jobs, I think I'm probably actually in a better situation than them. I don't say on here anymore just because, other than doing YouTube stuff, there's people who like try and find out all my personal info, weird stalkery sort of people. So I just don't talk about that stuff anymore. Do you have any actual Czech sources, Stuart? If you've got actual Czech sources, like strontium-90 or whatever, you could do that. You're going to struggle to test the high-range tube without a strong Czech source, in all honesty. I'm trying to think if there's any... What country are you in? Because there's stuff you can legally buy in some places and not others. I've played Airsoft. I don't actively play Airsoft. Yeah, it'd be a bit worrying though, wouldn't it, if your little snow fort caved in on you? What, strontium-90? You can't buy strontium-90 in Lidl. I don't know if you're joking there or not, but no, Lidl and supermarkets are not going to sell you strontium-90. If you're in the UK and you want to buy something to at least test a Geiger counter with, buy an old World War II radium clock thing. Like either a radium watch, a radium alarm clock type thing, or a radium aircraft dial, that kind of thing, or a radium compass. Radium stuff is hot enough that you'd get an interesting reading off the Geiger counter. If not, buy some thorium lamp mantles or something, maybe a bit of uranium pitch blend. But the high range tube on the GMC, you're never going to be able to test without either getting a false reading using a plasma ball type thing, because of the whole high voltage ionizing the gas in the Geiger-Müller tube, or unless you came across something really scary, because that high range tube is for the dangerous levels of radiation. Fiestaware is pretty hard to get, Radiac Maniac, in the UK. You generally have to buy it from US eBay for quite a lot. All right, Stuart, yeah. Just like, if you get radium stuff, I'd say keep it in a sealed plastic bag away from, anybody or living things in the house. But if you keep it in a plastic bag, or a couple of plastic bags, it at least stops the radon getting out easily. Because something you need to be wary of with radium stuff is if it's not sealed in glass or whatever, you'll end up getting radon gas leaking out. Yeah, but that's alpha radiation, and his Geiger doesn't pick up alpha. It gives off a bit of gamma, but not enough to be interesting. What do you mean by weird yellow flat Geiger counter? Fiver. Yeah, no problem, Stuart. I've got videos on certain check sources. Just if you get stuff like that, just make sure you keep it really safe. The one behind me, you looking at this? This isn't a Geiger counter. I might need to replace the battery in it. This is an ionization chamber. Yeah, I need to put a new battery in it or check the contacts that are tight. All right, I'll show it you, but as I said, I need to put a new battery in it. This is a Victorine 450, which is a digital ionization chamber, sort of based kind of on the CDV 715 aesthetically. But anyway, let me get this open if I've got my Swiss Army knife handy. The battery compartment in this is stupid, though. I really don't get why they designed a battery compartment like they did. Wow, if you mean theoretically, would a buckler work if somebody was attacking you? I guess so. I don't think you could legally walk around with a buckler saying, "Oh, officer, I have this for self-defense," if that's what you're asking. Okay, so the battery compartment in this is quite funny, because how they did the battery compartment in this, which is kind of stupid, is you've got an Allen key that holds the battery cover on, and then that's spring-loaded, and then you've got your battery in there. It's got two battery compartments, but you only need one battery to power it. So I don't know if one's just like a backup storage holder, or if it's just that in theory you can have two batteries plugged in at once. So yeah, so basically it just takes a 9-volt. So this is the correct way around for it. So you shove that in there. See if I can actually get it to turn on. No, I don't know if that battery's either flat or it's not making a good contact. Because it's 9-volt, it only needs to connect in one direction. It's not like you know, an AA or whatever, where you have to have the front and back pressing. No, that's not turning on. So either the battery's flat or it's not making a good connection. Anyway, let me see if I can get that 9-volt out, and then we'll try it in the other slot. But yeah, the battery compartment on this is kind of a bad idea. Like, it's kind of clever, it's in the handle, but it's not very good at holding the batteries in tight. I'm not doing much at the moment, Joshua. Obviously, I'm streaming at the moment. Once I finish streaming, at some point today, I'll get the Christmas decorations down. And other than that, not much, really. I'll get a video film later, if hopefully there's enough daylight to film it properly. Oh yeah, it certainly goes quite hot, doesn't it, Ghost Jesus, on a alpha probe or an ionization chamber that's open to the air. But yeah, see, now I've got this bloody battery in it stuck because it's, like I said, not a very good battery compartment in this. Yeah, if I can get this to wiggle out, I will put the battery in the other slot, but if you're buying one, Rob, always go for the thermoplastic helmets and armor now over Kevlar. It's literally way better. Although in theory, in most bits of armor, thermoplastic's used more like a replacement for ceramic plates. No, I do not have that Russian helmet. Sadly, mostly it was just for the reason that there's so many fakes out there on the market for them. And like the price of getting a real one is pretty expensive. Right, that battery's slowly coming out. Yeah, there's an East German helmet in the background. It might be quite hard to see from here. Right, that battery is slowly coming out. It's being a bit of a pain in the arse. Right. Yeah, as said, the Victorine 450 has a really stupid battery compartment design. Oh, the thing is, a flashlight is legal. You can carry a flashlight on you, no problem, as long as it's not one of those stupid baton type flashlights. But yeah, I'd say a flashlight is a pretty good thing that you can at least carry on you, you know, and it's a bright light, and if you needed to, you could swing it at somebody. I don't know when we're going to do a dedicated Borat stream, maybe for 100k, but then maybe Sacha Baron Cohen would sue me for, like, copyright infringement, I don't know. But yeah, fucking battery. I bet you'd eventually just break the battery contacts in here after taking all these batteries in and out. I might see if I can just... I've got a mag light. I really like my mag light. I've got a mag light, and then I've done the LED upgrade unless you're talking to the other guy. But yeah, the Maglite with the LED upgrade is very good. He's basically making a new channel. So what Duke's doing is he's basically unlisted all his videos for now, but they're still on his channel, and then he wants to redo them, do a lot of them, and make them more professional. If that makes sense. But yeah, that's basically what's happened to his channel. I don't want to damage the battery. This is the thing. Well, at the moment, we're in a lockdown. Tomorrow we come out of lockdown and into tier 2 in my area. So it's not great, not terrible in my area. But the main problem with COVID in my area, obviously, or the UK in general, is all the people's jobs it's ruining. So I think they're expecting, you know, by the time it's all over, maybe 5 to 10% unemployment. You know, so maybe up to 6 million people or something unemployed in the UK. Yeah, this was Nerd Central. This is probably Uzbek design, not glorious Kazakhstan design. Slowly coming out, but yeah, this is a pain in the ass. Because I bet I'll end up damaging something in this by the time the battery comes out. I'll try it in the other slot in a minute. Can I get the screwdriver underneath that end? Yes, okay. Right, at least I've got the battery. I can sort of move the battery in that little slot. I want it to come out, not... I wouldn't say stuff like that on the Nerd Central, because I know you're doing a Borat thing, but somebody might not get that, and they might think you're actually being racist. What's that in the States, T. Dixon? Yeah, that does sound like a lot. Can't you just get an AR for cheaper? Yeah, this battery holder is such a stupid design on this thing. All right, Snoz. Yeah, I was doing a stream at this time because there were some people yesterday who wanted me to stream like earlier in the day, and also tonight's one of those nights where I I can't stream at the regular time, so I either have to stream really late or really early. So I'm just streaming like now. This battery compartment is so bloody annoying. Right, let's have another go. See, I can hear something rattling now, which is a really bad sign, isn't it? It's probably something damaged in the bloody iron chamber now. What do you mean by politically correct, sir guy? Oh, I'm afraid we don't just insult random people on here, if that's what you mean. I'm not PC as in, oh no, can't say this, can't say that, but I'm not going to let people be racist or any shit on here ever. That's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to get this battery out using a screwdriver to, lever the battery out, but obviously don't want to puncture the battery because that would be very bad. But it's basically because it's a cheap, kind of horrible plastic battery compartment they did. And there's no way of actually getting at the batteries in it because it's just literally a bit of plastic there. All right, Snorky? Yeah, not too bad. I've got a battery stuck at the moment, which is a bit of a pain in the ass. So I want to get it out of this, but without damaging this, because if I completely break this, and this becomes a useless detector. Yeah, it's definitely a screw or something rattling around in there. It's not in the actual iron chamber bit, is it? No, it's somewhere else. Right. What was in when's my next members stream, Nerd Central? Might do a members stream tomorrow, in all honesty. Yeah, I'm just getting frustrated at this battery now. It's Ethan, it's an ionization chamber. I was trying to demonstrate it, but because of the bloody battery compartment, it's a bit hard to demonstrate. because I need to get the battery out. For the person who said, is it magnetic? I'm not sure. Tell you what, I'll push the battery further into the battery compartment and then see if I can get it to, you know, come out in case it moves a bit easier if I do that. Ooh, something just fell out then, which wasn't the battery. That was interesting. No idea what just came out. I'm assuming it was something that wasn't meant to come out. Ah, it was that screw. That's what was rattling. Or is there something else still rattling? It might be a washer for that screw that's rattling. Tell you what, let me try the other battery compartment. Have you seen the original Ali G, Ghost Users? The original Ali G is good. Let's see if no luck there. No, because it's like a metal sheet in the middle where you've got the battery contacts on either side. Like I said, it's just a really poorly designed battery compartment. But yeah, can't. Ah, there we go. Right, that's finally come out after lots and lots of probably damage to the internals and the plastic. But that's still fine, the contact in there. It's just a really stupid design how it goes in. Let me try that on the other thing anyway. Just because I'd quite like to demonstrate this. Ah, there we go. Right. It's kind of got a screen that's not the easiest to read in certain light because it's an old sort of crystal style LED or LCD, whichever one it is. Yes, sorry, LCD. So there you go. It will slowly drop down to background levels. But there you go. So it should basically go to about 0.05 or something like that. But the problem, because it's an ionization chamber, the more you move it, the more it gives false readings. But yeah, because it's definitely not 3 millirontgen per hour background radiation in here. It's dropping down a bit more now. But these have to sort of warm up and everything. But yeah, so for the person asking, this is a bit like a CDV 715, just with a digital display. Good idea, Snoz. I mean, in all honesty, I think what I'll do is just have it like this because it's working again for now. And then, you know, if I have to sort it out again, I might try and see if I can redo something with the battery compartment. Because as I said, it's not a good design, this. Right, let's put that one back in, so at least that's sealed. Oop. Ah, yeah, so that's just a little plastic screen, look, this bit. So that's the actual display, and this is just like a little thing that sits in front of it to make it look like it's, you know, a bit fancier. But yeah. This is actually a very good detector for detecting radiation. It's just a shame some of the construction quality isn't good, especially when you compare it to the old, you know, big metal CDVs. They're way, way tougher and, you know, better built. But yeah, see you anybody that's off. And as also said, can't remember which is the one that I have set up. Is it this one or the other one? I think it's the other one, isn't it? Yeah, it's this one I have. I don't know if I've got a battery in it currently. I do. Right, okay. So this one is the really good one I like. Let me just zero this. Again, you have to warm it up ever so slightly. Okay. So yeah, this is a really nice one. So this is a Keithley one. I'd say the construction quality of this is a bit better. And I like how the beta window is just this bit. So if you're side on, you're detecting gamma or whatever. If you're front on, you're detecting, you know, beta. This has two modes. It has one that shows you the current dose and a cumulative dose. I'm trying to remember which way is which. If I put on that range, But yeah, anyway, you need it to warm up for a while to 0. But yeah, this goes up to 20 Rontgen per hour, this detector, as far as I'm aware. I've never seen how high it actually goes. Actually, saying that, if I put it on the 20 R per hour mode, and then that's at 0. Right, now we put it onto the not 0 mode, but the like run mode. Let me see. All right, cool, Mike. I've not got very far in The Witcher 3 so far. I installed it recently when you were playing it. But I did like the tutorial bit of it, and then I think either you were going on at stream at the time, so I stopped playing it. I haven't been on since. But anyway, let's see if this makes it give a false reading. How good it does, right? Yeah, it goes up to 20 Rontgen and then clocks over. So yeah, it goes to 19, and then it essentially goes back down. So which is the actual cumulative dose mode? Let's work it out using this trigger. It's saying it's off range. It's not important anyway, I just thought that was interesting. But yeah, I'll turn that off for now. That's cool, Fiver. But anyway, yeah. So, Mike, good news was last night when I went to do those jobs after the stream, everything actually went all right. I didn't get around to phoning the doctors today, but I can always do that tomorrow. Because again, like you said with yours, you have to kind of phone early if you actually want to get through to somebody. And I don't even know if they've got anybody answering the phone at the moment. But yeah, in terms of like those jobs I had to do last night, at least they all went properly after the stream. And I've had like a good morning today where everything I've done's worked first time. So, you know, I'm hoping today I might have a bit better luck when doing random jobs. But I was streaming at this time today because my parents are streaming the football again in the evening, which means, you know, I can't stream until like after 9 p.m. if I streamed in the evening, so I'm just not going to bother. Cool. Did you send the ones finally to your mother, or was it different parcels? Was it like ones for the bolts or whatever? Oh, that's cool, yeah. Yeah, it should come through soon, Salivera. It'd be good if I could get a little transparent gas mask picture that it could do that, but I don't know if I'd have to create a new membership tier to do that. I'll have a look later. Because what I'll do is if I can upload just a single like transparent PNG that it can just recolor. The bolts and bayonets, cool. Yeah, if I can get a single transparent like PNG, I'll get Bart to make me one, because he owes me a few like drawings on that for like random jobs and things I've gifted him on Steam. So yeah, I'll get Bart to do one if it's only one little picture. I wonder if you could just do like a really simple transparent GP5 or something for it. Actually, a radiation symbol would work quite well, wouldn't it? Like a trifoil for the member symbol. If I could just have a transparent trifoil that changes colour, like with how long you've been subscribed. What about the CDV 700 Radiac Maniac? The Geiger counter. What about the CDV 700? Oh, you say I have 2-minute breaks for CDV 700. I'm afraid my CDV 700 isn't handy if you wanted me to get it out. I think it's in that box over there, but I can't remember. And I'd have to take a load of stuff off to get at it. Oh, a little pic of a CDV 700. The thing is, you probably couldn't make out what a CDV 700 is from like a picture the size of like that small, could you? Like a radiation trifoil, you could see CDV, you wouldn't be able to make it out. I don't know if you can have a separate picture for each tier, Nerd Central. That's the thing, because it was a bit confusing when I initially looked at the membership thing. I'd rather it just be a thing that changes colour, in all honesty, rather than it being a different tiny picture. Because the problem is with the member symbol is if you think how small it is, you can't really have a detailed picture. Oh, you've got a Danish lag. As in the awful Danish lag, Snorky, because I know the actual Danish lags they built themselves were awful, weren't they? in terms of it literally being like, oh, if you thought regular light anti-gas respirators weren't very good, here's a Danish clone that's even worse. Can you get, Snorky, the old UK haversacks cheaply on eBay? Because that would be like the perfect haversack for storing it in. I've never used them, I don't think, Class 2 instructor, so I can't really say if they're good or not. If they're made by the Russians and they're for winter, I'd assume they'd be good. Because, you know, it's kind of like the Russians have a bit of experience of being in a cold country. Ah, that's cool, Steve. Tiger Stripe's a cool camo, isn't it? Somebody was asking about that on another stream regarding Solid Snake in Metal Gear Solid 3. Or if it's not... Is it Snake's dad in Solid Metal Gear 3? I can't remember. But anyway, Snake in Snake Eater has Tiger Stripe on. Because that was one where people kept saying, what camo is it? It was Tiger Stripe. Bingo. Old people like playing bingo. I've not played bingo in years. Used to play with my grandparents when they went to one of those like old people clubs. But no, I've not played bingo in years. I mean, I suppose if you were gambling on the bingo, it might be more interesting. Naked Snake, what a kinky name. All right, thank you, Mike. Yeah, I couldn't remember. I've played it years ago. I'd like to play Metal Gear 3 again, but it's a shame there's not kind of a modern release. But yeah, let me have a look for you anyway, Snorky. Gas mask haversack. Because they used to put the right, if you want an over-the-top good container for it, because at the moment on eBay I can't actually see like older, cheaper designs. But the S10, S6 style ones are pretty good. So let me just link you to this. And this is basically like a much better version of what they used back in the day. The British haversacks have been pretty much the same since the late 40s up until now. There you go, Snorky. So if you put it in that, that would fit the mask without crushing it. And it's a pretty similar design to those. It's just more sophisticated. Because basically the old like light anti-gas respirators haversack was like that, just with a little buckle on the front to seal it. Then they went to the slightly bigger, like waterproof style designs for the S6 and S10, and like later they did camo prints on them. But yeah, like the old ones, weren't they? Were just like the green style ones, olive or green, let's say, and then they just got more sophisticated over time with camo prints and everything. It'd have to be a remake of the Armour Nerd Central, so I imagine actual armour like that would be a fortune. But I wouldn't mind like a full set of original medieval armour, but it will take up space. What is it, a Mark 1 helmet, Ethan, or what? Respirator helmet? Yeah, just get what you want, Snorky. But yeah, they'd fit the mask fine without damaging it, because essentially they're almost like an evolution of that original carrier type. I personally, my favourite one is the S6 one I've got in that kind of like waterproofy kind of material. Because the S10 ones that I've got are kind of water resistant, but it's more like they've just got a standard camo sort of print on them, you know. Whereas the thing I like about my old S6 one, it's made from a lot more of a kind of like a rubberized plasticky type vinyl thing, you know, where it's a much better water resistant material because it's a lot more plasticky. Respirator, as in a light anti-gas Mark 1, or the old, like the really old English corrected model respirator, whatever it's called. Yeah, they're good. They're good bags, aren't they, Claire? I like those respirator bags. It's a shame with the GSR one that became so bulky, because the older ones I think were a really good size in terms of you can fit a good amount in them, but they're not too bulky kind of thing. Well, with most gas mask bags, they're either too tight and they're a pain in the ass to store a mask and a filter in it without it like crushing the mask, or they're so big that you think this takes up way too much space. Oh, light anti-gas. No, you wouldn't scam for that price. I mean, you'd have to watch Baroque 4Day's video on it to correctly ID what kind of light anti-gas respirator it is. But yeah, light anti-gas respirators generally turn up pretty cheap now and again over here. Now, the GSR bag is good as a bag, it's just too bulky for what I like. I'd rather use that as an actual satchel sort of bag for storing stuff than storing a mask in it. But yeah, my GSR bag's in a completely different room now. I think I've got it on one of the rooms where we've got like a shelf that's near the ceiling and it's like tucked into that little alcove. The ones I don't like, Steve, are where they're weird shaped bags. Like, I guess they thought you could store a mask in it and use less space, but I find it weird when it's like a triangle shaped bag or whatever and a mask sort of sits in at an angle. Ah, cool, Marcus. Have you used a detector with it yet? And what sort of activity level do you get off of it? Out of all the modern ones, the Virtus helmet, which is the modern British Army one, is basically an American ECH with a different liner. Otherwise, that one Hype sent me is pretty cool, where I've put some of the tactical stuff on the side. Well, you can talk about food now because it's lunchtime. I'm going to go literally get some food as soon as I finish streaming. Right, okay. I'd advise, Marcus, you don't sit too close to that Autonite, other than looking at it under a UV light because it's pretty under UV. But until you know how strong it is, I wouldn't get too close to it for an extended period. Any 40mm NATO filter should go on an S10 Fine T Dixon. I'm trying to remember what that was like. When you say Siberian, do you mean Serbian, Marcus? I'm trying to remember what that Serbian carrier was like. Was it just literally like a well-designed haversack kind of thing? A blue scab? I really don't know what you mean by a blue scab. Do you mean it's like cutting into you slightly? Yeah, 20 to 30 microsieverts. That's not too strong, but I still wouldn't want to be close to it for an extended period. But yeah, personally, I would test it yourself because sometimes when I've bought stuff from sellers selling, it's like this activity level. It's either a lot stronger or a lot weaker. And with some of the natural stuff I've bought stuff that on a sensitive Geiger counter is getting like beta and gamma of like, maybe 300, 400 microsieverts when the seller just said, probably because they were posting it like via Royal Mail or whatever, oh, it's only like 10 microsieverts. It might only be like 10 microsieverts with an unsensitive gamma detector. But like, yeah, with a sensitive like beta and gamma detector, often they're a lot higher than that. Oh, do you mean the Bereg, Marcus? If you mean the Bereg, that's not shitty. Beregs are cool. But they're not, yeah, for accurate readings, are they? It just tells you, is it safe or not? Look at the color code. Yeah, Bereg. There is a merch website. It's literally right below in the thing if you have a look. And I think there's a link to the merch in every single video I do, isn't there, normally? But yeah, I've got a Teespring, like what I'm wearing now. I don't know if you're joking or not when you said that. Because sometimes you'll get people ask obvious questions just to be annoying. Anyway, I'll be off in a few minutes because my throat's getting a bit dry from talking because there's been quite a few people on, but it's been a good, enjoyable stream. So yeah, my plan is in a bit, get the Christmas decorations down. All right, Peach. So yeah, get the Christmas decorations down. Get a video filmed. That's my plan for today. But yeah. Help with what, Peach? When I stream, I normally stream for like 40 minutes to an hour. Sometimes I go over an hour. It depends, who's on, how good the conversation is. We don't have an angel to put on our Christmas tree. We've just got a fiber optic Christmas tree. And that won't be in this room because there's not enough space for it. That's all right, T-Dixon. I try and answer questions when I see them. It's just sometimes, obviously, the stream moves too fast or I just get irritated when people ask the same questions over and over. Yeah, weirdly, Mike, I've been the opposite. Last night I slept really well. And I don't want to sound like I'm being a dick saying that. I'm just saying, like, because I've had quite a few nights where I've had like really disturbed sleep patterns or whatever. Last night was one of those nights where I just slept well. You know, when I got up today, I just felt quite awake. All right, thank you, Dio or Dio. You have a good day as well. What's my least favourite gas mask? The Chinese pewter gas mask. Oh, UV lights are cool, Claire, especially if you've got stuff that glows under UV. I did find I have actually got my UV torch on this because there was a stream the other day where I was looking for a UV light and I couldn't find one. And yeah, I actually have got a UV light here. It was just buried under some papers on my desk. But I've not got my watch on at the moment because I can't remember. I think I just took it off to clean it and then I didn't bother putting it back on. Yeah, have a nap then, Mike, yeah, if you're tired. Obviously, if you're too tired to come on Twitch or whatever tonight, I don't blame you. Just let me know later on if you're going to be on or not. But yeah, for the thing where Keaton was asking the other day, does this have a glow in the dark, back screen? No, it doesn't, is the answer to that. Look, that definitely isn't the glow in the dark one. It's just literally a bit of card on this one. But yeah, because you can see on that one, look, even from here, hopefully, that hopefully you might be able to see that one's got the glow in the dark thing on it. It's obvious, obviously, if the light's off, but yeah, you can probably see that starting to charge up there. There we go. See that? That's got the glow in the dark one, like that's type 1. But yeah, this one definitely doesn't. Oh, in terms of, you'd need to get a good UVB one at least for disinfecting. UVC is the one that's good for disinfecting, but UVC also makes ozone and causes burns. Ghost Jesus is selling the merch again. Thank you. Yeah, UVA doesn't disinfect, or not to a standard that's any good. UVB does if it's a strong enough wattage, from what I understand. Like a UVB bulb like this is disinfects, but this one I don't find is too bright as long as you don't look directly at it to cause any kind of eye problems or skin problems. UVC is the proper disinfecting one, but also, isn't good for you. I think there's a really expensive one they call far UV or something, isn't there? That's like between, I think, UVB and C, where it creates a little bit of ozone, but for the most part, it's a lot less harmful, but it still kills germs quite well. But yeah, you might have to look at the more industrial UV lamps if you're after like a really good disinfecting one. But anyway, I'll see you all. Have a good day, and let me know later, Mike, if you're on Twitch or not. Yeah, Mike, I can understand your problem there because I have the same issue sometimes. Not all the time. Sometimes I'm well behaved, but yeah, sometimes I have that issue of just another drink. Oh no, the bottle's gone. Right, see you all. Have a good evening, day, afternoon, whatever. Merry Christmas in 25 days.